And F2's return is here. Welcome along to racing on F124 for the second time this weekend and second time as a whole in RPL. It is preseason in Qatar, and we're about to get one-shot qualifying underway at Qatar, a track that has had a lot of changes during the off-season. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, and alongside me before we get to one-shot qualifying is a former F2 champion, Eggles. Welcome along.
Hello, it's good to be here for a little tester in to seeing what the pace is like for some of these guys racing this season.
Yeah, one-shot qualifying. See how these drivers handle that. That's what we had last time in F2. Many seasons ago, we had 30 minutes of qualifying, but with this, with the circuit, this should be interesting to see how these drivers handle this one, especially considering the circuit is a lot different compared to last time. The start-finish line a lot earlier than before, and also this track definitely handles a little bit different for sure too.
Yeah, I think we'll see how people can adjust to the new F2 handling. My money is on Tadpole because he has been pretty quick in practice for this, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Coming through the first sector now, Tadpole currently in the lead, or at least on my screen. So yeah.
All right, well, Tadpole, former multi-time F2 race winner. You got Jordan, the same thing can be said about him. Minico looking to win a first F2 race, and a big lockup from RPL Jordan right there. That surely will, or sorry, Tadpole, that will surely affect him on his lap. Minico actually is retired from the session, so something has happened to Minico.
I imagine invalidations.
Ooh, that will be a big thing around the circuit. I forgot about track limits totally. That is another thing that will hinder these drivers. FBL joins him as well down there. Valkyrie, also another multi-time F2 winner up there. So it's the multi-time F2 winners up against drivers like Optical and even Minico, who are making F2 debuts this season. Right now, Tadpole looks comfortably in front, but right here is where you can lose it or really gain it.
Yeah, there's a lot of high-speed corners at this track, and you need high wings to be able to do well here. Interestingly, I thought Tadpole had lower wings than the rest of everyone else because he was quickest down the straight as well. But here we go, through the final corner, and by the looks of it, Tadpole is going to be able to hang on to pole here. And
Not much, though.
2/10.
2/10. Wow.
Oh my God.
Not a bad gap over RPL Jordan.
Yeah.
Remember, many seasons ago, he had quite the two-race title fight. We'll see if this time he can back that up by making it a full season. I'm sure he'll be competitive, too, being on the front row.
Yeah, I thought Optical and Jordan had the same time for a minute, but then I realised there's a 35 next to Optical's name. So that's never mind. But few DSQs, Jack Miles, the slowest of the people to set lap times. So interesting first one-shot qualifying there.
Titan Gagi as well. Disqualifications for track limits. Groggers, also known as Alan Prostate, the same thing there. Jack Miles, a former F2 champion in the mix there. 7th place Mythic. His only race win came at this circuit back in season 18. There's your lineup at the end of qualifying, and we're going to find out who's going to get this sprint race victory. Egg, it's been quite a while since you've commentated F2. A lot has changed.
It has.
It's probably been a while since you've last raced F2 as well, with the sprint race ahead of the feature race. I feel like the last time you raced it was the 3 races back then, but Metal has joined us for the 13th driver. That's another thing to mention as well. Another thing to mention too is I think the sunlight might be an issue for drivers with the racing line on into turn 1 and other areas too.
Well, it's daytime because I think F2 race in the day at this track.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah, is the format sprint and then feature now?
Yep.
No idea. Okay, that could be interesting. The last time I did this tier, it was like sprint feature or something like that, or feature sprint. I can't quite remember, but yeah, we'll see how these guys handle the new game, new handling. Turn 1 probably going to be interesting, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We'll have a formation lap, which is good. That's the different thing for F2 this time around. For right now, we get to talk about a few things. One thing I want to talk about is during this offseason, Egg, I think you're aware of this, we've gone through a lot of drivers and their statistics, and just statistics as a whole with F2. And yeah, Jack Miles was one who kind of caught the name of me, because when Titan had the original list listed, he had less wins than what was shown. We put together the stat line, and Jack Miles has 19 F2 wins, 5th in the all-time win list. Although he's not full-time, he can definitely pass a few people in this season if he does a lot of reserve appearances.
Yeah.
He's got Reese Dainty fourth in front of him, 21 wins, and Bourbon third, 23 wins. Although he starts fourth because this grid got reversed for the sprint race, can Jack Miles at least maybe add a preseason victory to his name?
Would that go on the statistics, or does that not count?
Oh, that wouldn't count, but that'd be nice to have at least
Yeah,
for season preview.
We've got Alan Prostate starting P1. Well, it's Groggers, but Alan Prostate will do. Groggers coming off of an interesting season ban, and he's now going to be in F2 and Tier 3 as well, the new Tier 3 for RPL, and we'll see what he can do today. Hopefully he doesn't blow anyone up. And there's the oh god, Minico and Jack obviously hit each other, and they have been disqualified. Their tyres are going to be minus 200 degrees on the start. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, it will be. You got Groggers, FBL in the front row. FBL, I mean, he's very famous now for that Hail Mary move at the final corner at Zandvoort. We talk about that way too much a bit, but rightfully
probably
so.
The best
it was one of
overtaking RPL history, I'd say.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And Minico's third right there as well. He's had podiums in RPL, one in Formula Endurance, two in F1, but none in F2. So this should be interesting to see as he starts third place.
Yeah.
Mythic, like I said, VAR's only win at the circuit. And, oh, sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say Grogger's another driver we didn't mention with multiple F2 wins. I believe he's got, I think, 2 to his name? No, 3.
Yeah, I don't see George having the best pace because he's had so long off of league racing now. I'm interested to see what Mythic can do. Always been stronger in F2 cars, and they are all warming their tyres up incredibly aggressively here as we line up the grid and waiting for Medal to get a move on so we can get the 5 lights.
Will they behave at turn 1? Let's find out. Here we go. F2 is about to kick underway with a horrible camera angle for 5 red lights in its return. This time it's preseason. Lights out, away we go. And you're going to notice a lot of these drivers will be able to put the foot to the floor entirely on the start, a lot more than they're used to, almost 4 wide in the background. But Groggers is going to cover off FBL and have him go to the outside and try to make this move. However, Minico gets the upper edge trying to go to the inside, which becomes the outside at turn 2. They'll remain wheel to wheel, put Jack Miles in the equation. He's going to try to get a move on, but they're all single file up to about 6th place, where they're battling side by side with Valkyrie and Blugagi, 2 former F2 podium sitters, but down the inside, now the outside for Jack Miles. FBL having quite the creation of track limits, and someone else had the same thing going on in the background, but as they get to Sector 2, looks so clean so far, but you gotta be careful of the rear lockups, and I can already see some guys correcting it. There goes Optical, and his first RPL start going around.
Yeah, Tadpole had a pretty poor start. He went so wide at turn 1 and went straight to the back, but he's made up a couple of positions, and we'll see what the feature race pole sitter can do in this sprint. I was focusing more on the back as Jordan makes a move on Jack as FBL goes a bit wide, and yeah, it looks like George has got a nice little gap out in front.
RPL Jordan, the biggest winner on that start as Jack Miles is losing another place. That goes with Mythic. They're battling. RPL Jordan make that now 6 places gained. Another driver who gained a lot of spots is Blugagi. He got 2 F2 podiums last season. He's 4 places gained already on this grid. But RPL Jordan, I think he's going to put the pressure here on Groggers once he gets to him. But now Jack Miles and FBL are going to trade some spots once again. FBL, one of the biggest losers on this start. Optical as well. And Vade now down 5 spots. They're all gaggling back and forth, and now they're 2 by 2 on the main straight. They're about to go forward. We've seen this happen before in F2. Hopefully they make it out alive, and there's a bit of contact.
Oh, no.
That's FBL getting a tap from the Red Bull livery driver of Valkyrie.
Yeah, I thought it was Jack and FBL going side by side, but it was Valk and FBL, and I'm not exactly sure what actually happened there. I don't know how they've crashed in a straight line, but they've all made it through, and yeah, Jordan, what a start. 6 places up. Minico, can he catch George out in front? And can Jordan make his way towards the leader as well? And it's all fairly tame. No proper incidents so far. But the front 3 are getting away a lot here. They're 2 seconds clear of Mythic and Paul. And there's a little squabbling in the midfield. Slightly disappointed by Jack so far. I thought he'd be higher up the order. But he's on the back of Mythic, so we'll see what he can do. Looking down the inside, but then tries to get a better line out of the corner. Doesn't quite make it work. There's only one DRS straight at this track, so not the easiest to overtake at.
Blugagi, Titan, Tadpole. That was a 3-car race they were having just a little bit ago, but now Tadpole is going to get the overtake done on Blugagi. Gagi and Titan, I would say 2 teammates to watch out for the season. Titan, more so the underdog, had a lot of F2 podiums in the past, but never on top. Blugagi, 2 F2 podiums prior, and I really think he's got a good chance to take a win this season. But now FBL diving down the inside of Valkyrie, late lunge going through, and this time DRS will get enabled, usually be the 2nd lap, but in F2 it's the 3rd lap, and that's a spin. Blugagi, Metal, and Invade, a big 3-car shunt. They've all come together at the back of the field. That's going to affect them, and they're going to have to find a way to claw their way back up to their sprint race. But now Minico is in DRS pursuit of Groggers, and further on behind that, RPL Titan is finding his way up the grid. He's just got FBL and Tadpole, and FBL is still not done.
I think Tadpole's just made his way past his teammate. Yeah, it looks like Minico has the pace advantage out front on George. Can George defend it though? I don't know what happened to the 3 at the back either. Did you see what happened there? Blugagi, Invade, and Medal.
Different directions, yeah. It was Gagi, Invade, and Metal. You're right, but I don't know what happened.
No.
However,
the 7 seconds back somehow. But anyway.
I'm gonna guess, because I did a lot of F2 practice with Make PK last night. I'm gonna guess, because this is a very common occurrence at this track, especially with rear locking being absolutely horrible. You can easily spin out now with it. I'm gonna guess one of them rear locked it in front of each other, and it was just a chain reaction if I had to guess.
Also,
but now for our race lead, it's 2/10.
I didn't
1.1
notice
Jordan's back.
the tyre strategies. I mean, only Optical is starting on these softs, which I don't know if they can even get to the end. That'd be close. Did they make it to the end? I'm not sure.
It's going to be very, very tight. I doubt it.
Yeah,
I did
he's
an
got
F2 race last year on the last game.
I suppose.
And it is a concern, yeah. I think you're going to make it, but you're going to be on like 70 or 80. We'll have to find out right now.
Minico.
Here we go. Minico in the DRS. Got it applied. SRL Metal, 3-second time penalty while that happens, but Minico takes over the lead of the race over Groggers. We got Tadpole and Titan also doing a swap in the main straight.
Yeah, interesting to see if George can now stick with Minico and Minico won't just run away from him. We've got Jordan right there, and then there is still that big gap, 4 seconds to Mythic in P4, who's, well, he hasn't got a train on him, he's just got Jack Miles near him. Yeah, Titan, I'm pleasantly surprised by his pace. He's on the back of Tadpole, and, well, he's getting somewhere near the leaders at this point. But yeah, Nico seems to have a pace advantage on George, so can he now pull away? Or he's missed that apex by about 10 miles, but anyway. Can he now pull away and get out the DRS range?
Yeah, we're going to have to find out if Minico can, because this is interesting here at a circuit like this where DRS is very effective, I would say. It's a lot more effective on this game from what I tested last night, but we're going to find out if Minico can get him out of the DRS train, because Jordan is barely within that 1 second gap.
Jack and Mythic side by side.
Oh,
Jack
yeah.
makes his way past.
Yep. Jack is through. I just switched to that. While that was happening, RPL Jordan, the first driver to pick up a track to a penalty inside the top 10 egg.
And George definitely got a warning for what he just did at the penultimate corner as well. And he's just about stayed in DRS. I imagine he abused the track limits on the exit of the penultimate corner to stay in DRS. But Minico, George still has DRS here, but Minico clearly has a pace advantage. And we'll probably look to get a gap, George, this lap. Titans now drops off the back of Tadpole. But still a strong showing is Jack and Mythic once again side by side.
Two good friends going at it. You have Mythic on the inside, now becoming the outside for turn 2. This corner, a lot more different. You can see in Jack Miles shoving him out a little bit. Mythic gonna still come back on, and you have Tadpole in the equation. Now Mythic's gonna give it back, but interestingly enough, as he gives it back, he gives up 2 places.
Yeah, I imagine Mythic got an illegal overtake there, which slightly unfair considering Jack left him no room. But Tadpole making his way towards the front. There's the 6 second gap though, so I don't think Tadpole's going to be able to. I mean, he's got 7 laps to catch that time. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. But it's been a good recovery since his turn 1 shenanigans to get up to P5.
Jack Miles, a former champion of F2. Tadpole, former winner. Mythic, a one-time winner coming out this circuit with VAR. They're only F2 in, and now Valkyrie gets the move on FBL, who seems to be struggling a little bit. But Titan is an interesting one. You said you didn't expect him to have the pace, but I raced with him in an F2 league at the end of the game cycle. Oh, Titan is very inconsistent with his pace and definitely the results. There were a lot of times where he did have the one-lap pace more than not. So interestingly enough, we'll find out this game if Titan can get that first elusive F2 win. And now Optical is another driver to pick up a Trekland penalty at FPL to the list too.
I think Optical could be in trouble here. I just can't see his tyres making it to the end, really. Well,
Ooh!
what's
Jordan?
happened to George? Oh,
Little dummy.
George.
He pulled a little dummy. He made it work.
Yeah.
Had to pull us through too.
And Optical
Yeah,
has
there
made
you
it
go.
into the pits. So that's
There you go.
it's an inspiring strategy. But yeah, he'll go on to hards, and I don't know how F2 tyres work, but will he even get a fresh set of tyres for the feature now? How does that work?
He'll get one fresh set, not two. That's the interesting thing, I
So
think.
he's gonna have to go back on
Ye-
those softs. So he's
Yeah, I
completely bottled it
think
then.
so. Yeah, it'll either be those softs or his qualifying set. I think so. I think he'll be okay, but he's not gonna be in the best position either. Lock up from Tadpole there at the braking zone. I mean, I will say, like, a lot of these guys I've spoke to, and well, they've spoke for themselves too. They seem to like these cars a lot, but I think the trickiest thing with this track, though, and we've seen it happen already, I believe, from the Fallen Corner incident and earlier on at turn 6 on lap 1, rear locking, and there goes Tadpole
Yeah.
trying to correct the rear lock again.
Tadpole's got a little bit of a train forming behind him. I don't think he is actually slow. I just think the DRS and everything, Slipstream, is powerful enough to keep these guys close to him. He's actually catching a bit, and someone has made an error. That's FPL. He's spun off, and he's down to P11. Could be P12. Oh no, Goggy's also spun off. So probably probably rear locking from those guys. And yeah, that's not good. Is it top 8 for points in the sprint?
Yes, it is, and I think
Yeah,
I will
okay.
say with the rear locking egg, it does punish the drivers a lot more. DRS activated down the main straight. You got Groggers on Jordan.
Titan just picked up a penalty as well.
That is true. I was just going to mention that. Here he comes on Mythic to try to get him on track. Mythic going defensive. Mythic going very defensive. And now Titan's still going to go down the inside. And Titan will get the move done for 6th place. Titan
Absolutely
still not going to
heroic.
give it up.
Love it from Titan, but Mythic is going to go try and keep around the outside. Doesn't quite manage it. Will he be able to get a run into turn 4
Yes, he
here?
will.
Yeah. Titan
Making him
goes
go
defensive.
defensive again on the attack. Will it work out for Mythic? Won't just yet. He's going to have to put some pressure on
I
Titan
smell
into
a
this
dive
corner. He's
bomb.
caught up quite a bit as we ride on board down the inside. Got to be careful making the move here. A little bit of argy-barginess between the two, but all is okay. Mythic is through for now, but Titan is still back down the inside. Not going to fight this one without a little bit of contact again. And, oh, Titan's still sliding. Saves it.
Inspiring racing from these two. I mean, it doesn't help them at all. They've just been gapped by 3 seconds. But very entertaining. Well done.
Well, it is no more of a DRS train, as you were saying with Tadpole now, but it is still a battle for 2nd place. RPL Jordan has it. Groggers will get it on the penalties, but wants it on track.
Tadpole has just gapped Jack, and he's actually closing up quite quickly to
Wow.
George in 3rd. He might be able to get within the penalty range of Jordan by the end of the race.
Oh,
Someone else has just spun.
FBL or Goggy?
I think it's
Both, I
Goggy
think.
again.
Yeah.
What a shocker. Did Goggy do TNT
Unfortunate.
yesterday?
Yeah, he did, and it wasn't great for him. And the V-carb, here goes Jordan going defensive again, and Groggers couldn't attack because of it at turn 1. And now, once again, it's like round 2 with these people. Titan and Mythic. Titan ahead, Mythic behind.
Inspiring.
I love it. I love it, these two.
I mean, I don't think they're taking it as serious as they would if it was a proper race, like a championship event. But very good racing by these two, considering this game can be a bit iffy going wheel to wheel, at least in F1
Yeah.
cars. But they're managing it, and Mythic's just got a penalty. Okay, so that could make it even more interesting, as they now both have a penalty.
Yeah, Valkyrie could catch up within the 3-second gap too, considering she's fighting to get there.
Where is Jordan? Jordan's P9, so he's on the front row, isn't he? So he's on the front row for the feature.
Yeah, maybe.
I think him and Tadpole could be an interesting battle in the, because he's had a good race here. He's up to 2nd. I mean, he's got that penalty, which isn't great, and Tadpole is about to get in the penalty window.
It,
So yeah.
And Minico as well is another interesting one because I believe he starts P9 for the feature race.
He bottled it in
He's
qualifying.
really had great pace. Yeah, he did not do great in qualifying, but he had a lot of great pace so far in the sprint race to show ahead of the feature race. Yellow flag, it's Blue Goggy again.
Yeah,
Take
he's
a
dropped behind
fourth
Optical.
different shot.
I don't know how he's possibly going to finish behind someone who's made a pit stop, but anyway. Oh, and he's done it again.
He's just spun that many times. Yeah,
I think
metal,
his tyre
like,
pressures could be
wow.
too low, because I reckon they're overheating. I think that's probably what's happening.
You got a fair point. I mean, the only thing I can think besides rear locking is the horrible setup, which I kind of realized last night too. It's a big factor in this car.
And he spun again.
Mythic and Titan both have tagged each other and they're around.
Oh no! And this gets Valk up into P6. Wow. Or P7, right behind Titan.
Penalties for now, yes.
Oh,
Yep,
Jordan's got another
Jordan
penalty.
again. That is so costly for Jordan.
Could be Jordan's downfall here, penalties. I saw, while I was in a hospital bed last night, I saw bits of the Tier 2 race. Did Jordan get a load of penalties in that as well? He got like
I think
9
he was up to
seconds or
9
something.
seconds before he DNF'd. But again, he was running second place there too before that happened.
So obviously consistency is the problemo for Jordan, but he's got that pace. He just needs to wise up a bit.
Yeah, and not slide as much there into that corner. I noticed mistakes are a big thing for a lot of these guys in F2 cars, but Minico may be one of our favorites for the title already. Before we talk about the season, that's maybe for sure. He's a full-time driver for Dams. We can go over the lineup during the break between the feature and the sprint. But Minico, one thing to mention about him, if I say he's a favorite for champion, is Blue Goggy has spun again and is about to get lapped. With the last two champions, they are also F1 winners, Bourbon Boy and Skither. Maybe a future thing for Minico upcoming in the season, although he's in a McLaren. We'll find out. 1.0 though. DRS still for Groggers. And with 3 laps to go, he's going to try and claw his way, at least up another spot on track. And if he could do that, he'll at least protect himself from being beat by Tadpole.
Jordan, I don't know if you're on board with him there, but he's literally just not done the corner. Interesting. Oh, and that's Blue Goggy again, who is actually about to get lapped in a sprint race. Oh my god. Oh, RSF1 Invade makes his way past Mythic as well.
Jordan as well also just got overtaken by Tadpole. I was just on board with Invade and Mythic. You're right about that.
I think he's in AI.
He's
in AI.
Yeah, he is. I was just going to look for a puncture, but I don't see one. No, I do. Is that the front left tire? Is that the front left tire where they slow puncture? Is that why?
It is.
I don't think he's in AI. It looked like a slow puncture.
He's got a punch. He's got a puncture.
Oh my god, Jordan does have a puncture. This was a concern egg, I believe, in the Qatar race last season and the season before that. This is going to bring a big question mark to the rest of the field. Jordan, obviously with 9 seconds of penalties on the track limits and really pushing, has really affected himself by picking up a puncture. But now, who else will with 2 laps to go this time? I think Blue Goggy's got a puncture too. Blue Goggy's got a puncture on the rear.
Inspiring. So
No, it's a puncture though.
Not a brilliant
It's a puncture though for Goggy. Egg.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is getting out of hand. He's spun about 75 times. I'm not surprised he has a puncture. Gordon makes his way into the pits, and that... Does he? Oh yeah, they changed the pit lane, didn't they?
Different pit lane.
I forgot about that.
Me too.
So he's not going to get points. Mythic, despite being spun round... Oh, yep, bye Jordan. Despite being spun round a million times, is going to get points here, I think.
Valkyrie and RPL Titan leaning on each other and touching there at turn 1. Mythic and Invade as well are swapping spots, the 2 Red Bull cars, but Titan getting ahead, and Blue Goggy's got a 10-second for speeding in the pit lane, while Jack gets Tadpole. Does Tadpole have a puncture too? So far, so good from Tadpole, but it's a 10-second gap for the lead while this is happening, and Valkyrie is still pressurizing Titan for 5th place, at least on track.
So that was interesting. Goggy got a 10-second for speeding in the pit. Is that new? Is that new? Is that the same as F1? I'm not sure.
I'm going to guess so because I think there was a 10-second for an illegal overtake yesterday rather than a 5.
Okay, so they've made penalties more severe, which is probably for the better.
It is for the better, in my opinion, because of serving a 5-second in the pit lane, in my opinion. You can get the 10-second removed. We've got a
Well,
spin. That's Valkyrie. She has gone off.
the puncher?
And I'm wondering, is this a puncture? It is not.
It
That's
isn't.
just
No.
a rear lock, possibly.
A
One
lot of
lap to go.
mistakes being made, as I think FPL
Yeah, one lap
also
to-
just spun.
Well, yeah, well, that's
Um,
not good either. One lap to go. Minico with
yes.
the lead, and I just want to mention, Egg, we've not had a Canadian, whether it be a social race or not, be on the top step of a podium in RPL since April of 2021, I believe.
I'm guessing you know who that Canadian was.
I could check right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I thought Minico had won a race. Oh no, he's only got podium, hasn't he?
Brandon Rules, maybe, was the other Canadian of... No, it was Brandon. It was either Brandon in F2
Yeah.
or Brandon in the F1 Tier 3.
Yeah.
Either one, I remember he was in the top step because I did double check that back then. Now we've got 4th place on track up for grabs. Is Tadpole struggling?
He got a
I think
puncture.
Tadpole has a front
puncture.
left puncture.
Yeah. Titan is going to get P4. This is absolutely inspiring.
Wow.
Wow.
And maybe could he get keep P3 if he's played the cards right. We're gonna watch Minico in just a moment because if he can get across the line on 3 tires, that'd be very interesting.
Is Minico
Can you
on?
imagine that?
Minico hasn't got a puncture, has he?
No, I'm saying if he could though get
Oh.
across the line on 3 tires, that'd be very interesting.
Yes. So it looks like our top 3 is sort of set in stone, or top 4 anyway. Is going to
Find out.
be like this.
Minico
Jack's
across the
closing up
line. We've not had a
the-
Canadian on the top step of the RPL podium in 3 years, but now he'll dance to the line to celebrate this preseason win for Canada and for himself. Minico, for the first time, is on the top step, and across the line, we've got Groggers in his return, proving the doubters wrong about all the shenanigans in Tier 2 Texas. He'll get onto the podium. Jack Miles as well, 3rd place for him. And I believe that's Tadpole falling down the order even more. He's gonna have a little bit of
I think he's still
contact.
going to get a point though.
Yes, he
'Cause
will.
Medal, yeah, he's going to get a point. So, well, there are a lot of punches
Titan
there.
4th, Vade 5th, Mythic 6th, Valkyrie 7th, and you're right, Tadpole is the last points runner. And
Well,
Blue
that's
Goggy's come out of
Titan.
the pit lane.
Good race there. The P4.
Oh!
What's happened?
Blue Goggy came out of the pit lane and just
Oh,
got
Blue
turned by an
Goggy,
AI.
mate, do us all a favour.
You can retire on track, by the way, if you're the last car.
Mm.
And you're not going to affect anybody, so. Yep, SLR medal, someone else to watch out for. A lot of pace in F2 usually. Just got caught out there. Optical, 10th place for him. FBL, 11th. And, yeah, I mean, different compared to F2 before. Usually the 10th place guy in the first race would start on pole for the sprint, but sprint versus feature now. And I think Minico is quite happy with that.
Yeah, you have a lot of work to do in
Oh my god.
What the?
The front
You have
left
a lot of work
tires.
to do in the feature, but given the pace he's just shown there's no reason why he can't fight at the front of the field in the feature. It'd be interesting to see if Minico has the pace come round 1 when all the big boys are playing, because I know there are some drivers that aren't here today that are very quick. Is Toby Griffiths in the lineup? I think he is.
Yes, he
And
is.
he is extremely good in F2 cars, so he's an F2 champion. So I think he is.
He is,
So
yep.
we'll see what he can do. But Minico takes the win in the sprint, and half the grid ends with a puncher. In fact, Groggers, I think, had a
93%.
puncher.
93%
Wow.
on the front left, he said. Wow. Well, the game gives RPL Titan Iron the driver of the day. I don't know. I mean, maybe. Minico is one with an 11-second victory to consider. Let's see our podium celebrations before we go over the F2 full lineup. I'll do that with you in just a moment. We can load any now for podium celebrations. Minico celebrates on the top step, and he gets to see the Canadian flag up there for the first time as well with it. Here's a look at your final results on our screen from the sprint race. Tadpole usually would get 2 points, by the way, for qualifying and pole. But Yeah, don't know really what we'll see from RPL Jordan, though, as he got affected quite a bit in the sprint race. Same with a lot of others. Here's the lineup for the F2 season, Egg. We're going to go over it now. You've got High Tech with Jordan and Wavy, 2 winners in F2. Usually wouldn't say that if it was a different tier. Dems, Minico, and Valk. Carlin, this is a scary one, Griffiths, and Metal. Virtuosiev, Tadpole, and FBL. ART have Josh, 433, different Josh, and Typical, or OPL Tickle. That's a weird one I'm going to have to get used to. PHM, which is the former Charouz team, have Mythic and George. Originally, that was Zatsy in the lineup there, but he left the league. Prema have Gagi and Titan. Campus have JNT and JTK. VAR have Polo God and 7 Sevens, or 7 Sevens. And Trident have Skither and Vapor. So that is the full-time F2 driver lineup. And some notes I made before this race ahead of this feature race I want to talk about. As you may notice on this game, you'll see it in the F1 cars later on today and tomorrow, and you probably saw it yesterday, the F1 World thing. You have the drivers having an F1 World tag, whether it's a driver name like Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton, Loris, Leclerc, Verstappen, or a team name such as Red Bull, Mercedes, Alpine, Kicksauber, Haas, alongside their name, McLaren. 2 things I mentioned already, but I'll mention it again. On the starts, I tested this last night. You can go full throttle on the starts. Is that a scary thing? Yeah, probably could require an update for that, but yeah, that's not good enough traction to have. But DRS is more powerful on this game than last game, that's for sure. We didn't see it a lot during that race, but we saw a lot of overtakes on the main straight regardless. And something to mention as well, in his own tier, Grogger's got a podium there in the sprint race.
Yeah, Jordan has said he cannot do the feature race. He's got to wash his car, apparently. So
Wash his car. Okay.
yeah, I don't know if he's talking about his F2 car in game or his actual car in real life. But yeah, he won't be taking part. So the battle we were maybe going to have between Jordan and Tadpole isn't going to happen anymore. Will it be a battle between Tadpole and Minico? If Minico can sort of get his act together and get through the field, we'll see.
Possibility, dude. Just that. We've got the feature race about to get underway, but first is the formation lap, and you said Jordan, right, they're having to go. This is going to be very interesting for Optical, Valkyrie, Invade, and Mythic, who all start right behind RPL Jordan. And you can see a lot more of a cloudier circuit with the cloud cover.
Jordan's decided his AI is going to lead the formation lap, which is interesting.
All right.
And there's an interesting mix of tyre compounds to start.
Indeed.
With
Wow.
Tadpole, Jordan's AI, Optical, Invade, Mythic, Titan, and Blue Goggy all on the softs. Everyone else on the hards. So, well, the top 3, including Jordan, on the softs. So they'll look to pull away. And then you got a lot of people in the mid pack on the hards. The Primers going both on the softs because they're feeling ballsy. So we'll see how. Oh my God! I think Blue Goggy just. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's
Blue
2
Goggy
teammates.
just ran into the back of his teammate.
Can we classify that as a teammate collision in RPL? Maybe.
Yeah, I think that could go in the RPL, whatever it's called, next video.
Yeah, well, we got half the field in the softs, half the field in the hards, like you said, but I'm interested to see what happens in a turn 1, though. I mean, it's so much room you can give to another driver in that corner, and you can also take many different lines when battling other people as well, so it shall be interesting to see what happens, really, with that being said for the, well, opening lap, and just in general, I think, with the way turn 1 can be with this circuit. You gotta get it quite civilized into turn 2, because if you're leaning on each other into turn 2, likely scenario is that corner does close up a little bit, you could crash, and we've seen that happen maybe once already. Turn 1 we did with Titan and Mythic.
Well,
Start finish line is earlier too, by the way, something to consider, Egg, when making your move. Pit lane as well, we'll have to see how these drivers tackle that. We saw a 10-second by 2 different drivers in the sprint race. These guys will have to get it woed down when they do pit for their pit stops, which is mandatory in this feature race. top 10 do get points for this one. We shall see what happens before 5 red lights.
Oh, Mythic. What's he playing at? He's been DSQ'd, I imagine, for not lining up his grid slot. But here we go.
Here come the 5 red lights with another horrible camera angle. They put the foot to the floor, and they're go for the feature race. 16 laps aboard. Jordan's AI already deciding it wants to still get a decent start, so that's going to put a blockage in between Tadpole and Optical. But now we've got Valkyrie and Invade going wheel to wheel, the 2 Red Bull livery cars, with Mythic in the background there as well, getting almost to both of them. And now a little bit of contact there for 5th place. They all still remain quite civil. You got Groggers and FBL side by side. I think FBL losing out on that one, kind of bogging down. Invade trying to get the AI of Jordan now. He's through there up into 3rd place. Invada, former F2 podium sitter once back in Japan 2 seasons ago. Mythic as well getting Jordan's AI, and now they're all getting him. Valkyrie through. Watch out for turn 6 here. Lockups trying to correct the car. You got Optical doing just that. He made a mistake earlier there in the sprint race going around, but this time he's perfected it this time as they all get RPL Jordan here and are all a single file besides that.
It's not many, apart from Jordan's AI falling down the order, not many position changes.
Not really. Goggy up 4.
Goggy, good start by him, but he's on the soft, so he has to make a good use of them while they last. I literally didn't Medal do like about 4 laps on them, so it's going to be interesting to see how long they actually do go on the soft tyres. Tadpole already has a 2.3 second gap out front.
RPL Titan getting RPL Jordan right there as well. They're all quite civilized throughout this field, single file. And, yeah, you're right, 2.5 is the gap for the lead. This shall get interesting then, because do you fight it out and still try to catch Tadpole, or do you wait until the tires fall off? Tadpole leads lap 1, the Virtuosi driver. Got 2nd place up for grabs, but they're all just weaving and bobbing on the straights further on behind that, trying to warm up some tires or trying to just duck out and find the racing line and not hit the back of their competitors. But, yeah, with that start, 4 places for Goggy, a really good start. I think that happened all at the first phase right there on the opening lap. And if anything was to show last time about the tires, it was the hard tires getting the puncture. And now we got defensive driving here. Invade and Optical going at it. Further on behind that, that was Minico and Jack. But find your place, find your time on the grid. Find where you want to be here into the heavy braking zone. Oh, that's a big send. Here we go. Minico in the runoff.
Will Minico put his nose in? I don't think he does. He sort of keeps himself there, but Jack... Oh, they're both on the hard tyres, so this is an even fight, but Jack does get ahead of him. The top... Is it top 4? Top 4 all on the soft compound. So obviously they're working well 2 laps in, but I imagine by the time we get to lap 5, they'll be starting to drop off a lot, and they'll be looking to make pit stops. Tadpole extending his gap nearly 4 seconds out in front now.
Wow.
He's looking comfortable.
And it doesn't help that RSF1 Invade is leading this train on the softs and maybe preventing some guys like Jack Miles, Minico, Valkyrie, other faster drivers getting through. They're also stuck in traffic, though, behind just RSF1 Invade as well. But DRS will get enabled this time by, and you can just see a little bit ago, Valkyrie, the first of the hard runners, flirting with the back of Optical, but now Minico and Jack are going to have a go at one another, wheel to wheel, down the main straight. Minico with the inside line into turn 1, Jack Mouse having the outside line, which will become the inside for turn 2, but he just can't hold his ground. Minico through.
Yeah, Minico will start looking to get past some of these guys. He's obviously on the slower tyre, but I think it's going to start evening out very soon. And we obviously know Minico has a good amount of pace, even on the slower tyre, to try and make his way up the field here. He's the only person I can see challenging Tadpole. He just needs to make sure Tadpole doesn't get too far ahead. He's already 5 seconds ahead, but he's just got to make sure he doesn't get like maybe 10 seconds ahead. I think Minico can probably catch Tadpole. Just depends how big the gap is, as Valkyrie, a very weird sort of
Letting him
almost let him go, but the way she did it was sort of, she blew up, and yeah, it was interesting. But Minico up into P5.
Grogger is also known as George App Williams, getting Blue Goggy there for 8th place right there. You got both Premas still running in the points in 9th and 10th, but we're going to put our attention back to the top 4 drivers here because you have Invade with Mythic in a 2-car race there for 2nd place. That's 5.8 between the leaders now. And Minico now on the attack with Optical. Yes, here we go. Main straight. Minico in the slipstream. This is before he gets DRS. And Minico will get the upper edge, but will Valkyrie follow through? You saw Valkyrie let Minico go. Valkyrie, I'd assume, will probably follow Minico along and try to see what Minico does to gain some pace here. But now Valkyrie going on the outside here at turn 2. This will be her best opportunity to try to pull it around, but she can't do it. She's going to get cut right off. Here's Jack in the background.
I mean, I still don't know the pace of some of these guys because there's been a lot of spins and a lot of punches in the sprint race. I think Valk looks solid. I don't think she had the best result as she taps the back of Optical there.
Ooh.
Can she follow his teammate through as Jack dives it down the inside? Brave move, but gets it done. And yeah, interestingly, I don't know, I thought Valk was solid, but she's lost a spot there and we'll have to try and make her way back past.
Yeah, she'll have to get used to the F2 cars a little bit differently this game. I know she really does thrive a lot more in the F2 cars compared to the F1 cars, Valkyrie that is, but it's this train from 4th place or 5th place on back all goes to about 11th place now. So you got to really pick your line, pick your time very carefully with these guys, and RPL Jordan threw on FBL's AI right there. I think FBL has had a mistake of some sort. Minico, that is costly for the Canadian.
I think Tadpole continues for another lap. So we're not seeing pit stops yet. Will Invade and Mythic pit? No, they're not looking like they want to pit yet. So they want to extend this stint while they're out front. But Minico is probably going to go for it here. He's right on the back of Mythic down the main straight. Both cars have DRS, but he has the strong slipstream into turn 1. Will he dive it down the inside? He does. He brakes later, gets the inside line. Mythic will keep it, his tyre alongside Minico's, but Minico makes his way through into turn 2.
Jack Miles also taking over 5th place right there in the DRS battle. That involves now up to 7 cars. You saw Titan and Metal also swap places right back there as well. But I think that's crucial for Minico to get Mythic even with the track limit penalty that Mythic has now picked up.
Yeah, it's costly, these track limits, because none of these guys seem to have the raw pace other than Tadpole and maybe Minico to gap people by 3 seconds. So Mythic's going to struggle now for the rest of the race. He's got to find some pace and gap people behind.
Blue Goggy putting the power down before Optical and got him with quite the nice up and under. And now Metal wants to go through around the long way.
Good move by Blue Goggy. He's on the softs as is Optical, and these guys who were at the front not too long ago are now dropping off. So it looks like the hards are starting to improve as Invade is now being hustled by Minico, and Minico makes his way past. I think Invade choosing to let him go there.
But also Invade will get the DRS with that though, with letting him through with
I
the
imagine
point being
Invade
right
is going to pit here. I think he's going to make his way into the pits. No, he doesn't. He continues for another lap.
I think they're going to stay out for another 3 laps at the very most. Got FBL and Jordan again trading spots. That's not been FBL's day, but you got Metal and Optical close. You got Groggers and Val close, and now 2nd place up for grabs again. Invade in Minico. Invade playing the DRS mind games there and going to go the long way once again. Invade, a team principal of F2, making contact, leaning on his rear, and they're both going to go off through.
That is
Mythic
not
will go.
good for Minico. He's lost the spots he just made up. And Invade, I didn't actually see who was at fault there, but I imagine it was Minico on the inside. He just didn't leave enough space, I think. I'm not sure.
I'm going to argue a little bit against that for a second. Hold on. Groggers down the inside. There was another penalty picked up there just a moment ago from Valkyrie. Off the track goes a Prema in the background, but side by side for 5th place. Blue Goggy's another one picking up a track limit penalty. But Invade gets Groggers. But with the Invade and Minico incident, you could also maybe argue Invade kept his nose in there at turn 2, right on his rear wheel, and was just leaning on him right there. Did Invade have enough of his car alongside him and deserve to have the space from Minico? I don't think so, if I'm being honest.
I only saw the last little bit of it when they went into the gravel, so I really don't know. But Minico's going to try and make his way back past Jack and Mythic here, but that really doesn't help him in his attempt to catch up to Tadpole, who is making his way into the pits.
Well, this is the first of them. I expected this soon, but this is a little early maybe from Tadpole, but definitely
Mythic's also
worth
going
it
in.
for the undercut. And Mythic is in. So is RSF1 and Vade making a mockery of that pit lane right there. I think that's going to be very interesting when we get to F1 cars with this pit lane, because a lot of those guys choosing to go over the white line. I don't know if they get a track limit warning for it, but RPL Titan and Optical both are in as well, and we still have battles. Jack, Miles, and Minico, Valkyrie, and George, Metal, and Goggy. Battles galore everywhere you look here.
Yeah, it's Goggy the only one to stay out. There's a retirement. Is that in the pit lane? That is in the pit lane for FPL. But, the contact!
Oh! Valk!
Oh, no.
And George!
I believe that was Valk's fault. Just didn't leave any space.
I don't know. I mean, that is wild. And Jack Miles is spun around as well. Oh my goodness. The chaos we've seen, Egg, to start this feature race when the pit stops have come has absolutely been scrappy.
It's going to be interesting to see where Jack can...
Blue Goggy. Big rear slide. I don't know how he held on to third place. Sorry to cut in.
He's well, he's certainly snappy, but he hasn't had many spins in this feature compared to the sprint. I don't think he's spun yet. So I imagine Goggy will come in this lap, though. I can see he's dying in the corners and getting gapped by Valk. So I think Goggy's going to make his way into the pits here. But Minico now has a 4.5 second lead out front. Where will that come? By the time the hard runners pit, where will he be compared to Tadpole? That is the question. As Goggy does make his way into the pits.
Yep, locking up massively too into the pit lane just to make sure he doesn't speed, and he still speeds.
It's actually, oh my god, has he gone 2 for 2 with speeding?
Wow, that's gonna be an interesting thing for these drivers. Speeding
in
this pit lane.
He's put on wets.
Oh dear. Oh dear. I would assume this is an accident. I don't think this would be serious. I would hope it is an accident too.
Maybe he's predicting some weather.
I think he's predicting some Aramco.
Yeah.
Between some drivers.
Oh god. He's gonna come out in I think he's gonna come out in P10 here. On the wets. He's gonna be side by side with Invade, I think, into turn 1.
Oh, this will be fun.
Oh god.
By the way, there are 2 team principals in Vade and Goggy. Got Optical and Titan in the background. Titan, meanwhile, going to go down the inside again. Preferred inside line, I'd say here, but you can still get the traction on the outside as you see Optical do just that.
It's going to be actually...
It's pinching Titan.
Bedlam.
This is great. I love this cracking racing. Diving it up the inside and delivering 11th place.
Goggy's about to get in their way. Oh, no!
Oh! Oh, my God. That slide scared me.
Oh, no!
Helping his teammate out, though, right? There he goes, Titan, through on both.
Oh, no!
Oh!
Titan,
he pushes him off, and around he goes!
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
What has just happened? Anyway, look further towards the front. All the hard runners still not pitting. RPL Jordan's AI, does make his way into the pits. The first hard runner to pit.
I see it now. I think they're thinking that white line is a little bit earlier, though. They're trying to get it very careful in the pit lane, then they speed up. I noticed that now.
So Jack and George both deciding this is the time to pit. It might be a bit early, I'm not sure. Because these softs, I don't know how long the softs can go. I think they did 7 laps, did they? Or 6 or 7 laps? The guys who were on them earlier, so
this is a good time to pit. Yeah, I did a race on last game in Qatar in F2, and this is probably around the time you wanna pit in order to not get a puncture. Optical, another time penalty maybe. Jack comes out behind Mythic, by the way. It's a 13-second gap with Tadpole and Mythic for the net lead. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm interested. I think Minico's gonna win. I think Minico is. He's 26 or 27 seconds in front.
It'll be slower pit stops in F2.
Yeah.
But I think he'll definitely have the edge over.
He has a penalty as well. That could not.
Mythic,
that might not help him.
Yeah, Valkyrie and Metal still close to one another, both Red Bull livery cars. That's Optical and FBL now, the two guys we've
I
lost from this
imagine
event.
Miniko's going to pit this lap.
I would hope so. I think he actually really has the tire advantage over Tadpole by quite the margin, considering what we saw from Tadpole. Miniko is in. Yep.
Oh, no.
And he's
Yep.
gonna speed.
That's the
Yep.
end of that then.
Probably thought that it was 50 miles per hour, and it was 37 there into the pit lane. That's not good from the Canadian.
I
There goes
don't even think
Metal.
he was close to 37.
On Valkyrie, yeah, I don't know. That was really wild. But I think
Yeah.
you'll at least have a chance to get Mythic here still. I don't see that being an opportunity that's no longer one now. This is going to be close to the main straight, I think, between Miniko
If
in a 5
I
second
think if
gap with
Miniko
Tadpole,
didn't get
but-
that 10 second, he might have won this, but I don't think he's gonna be anywhere near now because he's got the 10 second. The question is, can he
But-
get P2 ahead of Mythic?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the overcut, though, I think, over Mythic now. With that being said, I think that's worked out for him. Jack Miles and Mythic do a little swaparoo in the main straight, but that is yellow flags for the Prema of RPL, or not RPL, Blugagi. RPL's finest wet driver right now.
He hasn't had a brilliant weekend as he's
Don't intentionally crash, please. You've got in trouble for this before.
I don't know if he'd get any sort of ban for it in a pre-season race, but
Still got to take it serious, though, in
top
some
two
way.
very close. Medal and Valk.
Yeah, Valk just right in the back of the gearbox, flirting with the other Red Bull livery driver in the MP.
I think they're both going to make their way into the pits this lap. The last two drivers to not make a stop.
Based on what we've seen with the pit lane, though, is going to be carnage.
Well, either
Let's
of them
see.
get a penalty here. They're both making their way in. Medal's going to get a pen. Oh no, he's avoided it. Well done him.
Valk was directly at 36 there, broke a little early. I think this is going to be interesting, though, between them and the race for what's going to be third place, but maybe Jack Miles, though. They're not going to be on the preferred tire until now, so we'll see.
I think Jack could get second because Miniko does have 13 seconds of penalties. And
Yeah,
Jack is currently
maybe.
only 7 seconds back.
Just want to make a comment about Virtuosi for just a moment. The total of their F2 wins, they have 26. But if you want to know their amount of championships they have as a team in RPL F2, they only have one to their name. Metal and that is Valkyrie coming out of the pits in very interesting places. One's behind Invade, the other is behind George Alp Williams, and you got to get your tires up to temperature here. We're going to find out how this happens from both drivers exiting the pit lane.
I think Medal's got a decent opportunity of getting P4 here. If he can keep
Rogers.
it on the track.
Gonna hold her on
As,
the outside. I
George
thought
is
that would
right
have
at the
moved out
back
of
of him.
braking, but we're fine.
Yeah, Medal, if he can not get any penalties, he should get P4 here because he's got a tyre advantage on. Oh wow, he's just gone extremely deep, and George
And I
makes his
think
way past.
Rogers-
He'll be side by side.
May have pulled a dummy right there if he's gonna make that work. That was incredible.
He hangs it round the outside, and they're still near enough side by side. George
There you go.
makes his way past.
Now on board with Valkyrie. Metal almost clipping the back of the Welsh driver. But off the track for just a moment was RSF1 Invade. Making quite the creation of track limits there. 5 seconds for the race lead now. This should be interesting to see if Miniko can at least get the win on track. But Valkyrie hustling the back of Metal. Can she steal this place? Oh, penalties. Titan. Valkyrie.
Yeah, Miniko might be able to catch him, but whether way he just won't be able to gap him by 13 seconds. Got to bear in mind punches could come into it at the end. There's a possibility. It was the hard runners, or I guess everyone was on hards, but it was the hard tyres that punctured after about 10 laps, 11 laps in the sprint. So we'll see if they can make it to the end.
An absolute thrilling battle on the main straight right there. Here we go down the inside again with Metal on Groggers, but that's yellow flags for Blue Goggy once again, who is having more trouble enter his race, it looks like.
Metal.
But we have a move for the lead. Tadpole has had something happen there at turn 6, and he has gone into trouble, allowing Miniko through. Invade has got a penalty, And he's right up close with Valkyrie and Metal, who are still battling and almost touching.
I think Jack might have also had a... No, okay, no. I think Tapol spun and Miniko has gone into the lead. Jack has dropped to 9 seconds back now.
But I'll tell you,
I don't
this
know how
battle to at
Tapol's
least
done
pull a minimum of 10 seconds. I know he needs to pull 13 with the penalty. It is on. If he can put in really good laps. I'm not saying he can do it, but with Tadpole's mistakes, there's no doubt about it that he at least
he needs
has a
another
chance
Tapol
now.
spin. Another Tapol spin and he might be able to do it.
Yeah.
And punches could come into it. Medal on the back of George now, as they're going to go down the main straight here. There could be some overtaking into turn 1 here.
Virtuosi's last winner, by the way, in RPL F2 comes with Franchi at the penultimate round in season 17, just for reference. Here we go. More moves being made. You got Metal on the attack. George going defensive. A little bit of contact, I think, down the main straight, but all is good between them. Metal is through, and in DRS now of El Mythic. This will be interesting to see how they get on for those places. Invade has fallen out of DRS, so not critical for his race, because he's lost out on a potential maybe P7 on track. But you see, weaving the tires now, maybe trying to get some temperature into it. Metal catching up to the back of Mythic. He's now right there, and you can just see how he's boxed in from Mythic and Groggers here. But Groggers is not close enough to have a chance to say something about it. While we have that happening, Valkyrie's going the long way around and almost making contact. She's onto the curb, pinching, squeezing, leaning, and now Valkyrie through for now.
Yeah, I think George's tyres are starting to die off, and it'd be interesting to see if he can actually get to the end, because he did pick quite early onto those softs. Medals on the back of Mythic now. Can he get a run on him into the high-speed section? I'm not sure he's going to be able to be alongside here.
But Mythic is quite a bit slower at the stage right now on 6-lap hards. Similar tire wear to... You got Tadpole there and Titan and Blue Goggy, 2 drivers, both premas to pick up a track limit penalty right there in the process. 2 laps to go next time by, but it doesn't feel like 2 laps to go for these guys. It feels like the final lap for 4th place, which is up for grabs.
It's going to be very interesting who can keep their tyres alive. As a Medal, I think he's going to go for it here, down into turn 1. All Mythic moving a bit on the straight. Can Valk follow him through? Oh, yes, she can. Oh, Mythic drives it back down the inside. It's going to be side by side into turn 2. And, Valk just about gets ahead into turn 2.
And
Mythic goes wide. Oh, God.
George on the teammate through as well.
Oh, yeah,
Yellow
flag.
flags.
Doggy again.
Oh, I thought that was maybe one of the race leaders because I was right in that area.
It also does look like Tadpole is going to be able to keep on a second here, or second on track first after penalties. He just doesn't, he can't afford another mistake. Jack's looking pretty handy for third, so or he could get second actually, depending on if he can keep close enough to Miniko.
See these guys fighting it out, whether it's on, you know, pure pace like it is with the top 4, and really 4th on back, fighting it out on track for their places. And Tadpole picks up a 3-second time penalty, not going to affect him too much unless he has another spin like he had prior. Just want to remind people, by the way, you got preseason event coming up later for Tier 1. We'll see if that goes through or not at Silverstone. And Tier 3 has one tomorrow at Spain to end off the weekend. F2 is interesting because this is supposed to have a different opening round compared to the other tiers. Tier 1 to Tier 3 are going to have the same opening round, but F2 looks to be an 11-race calendar and what will be a different opening round, like I said, than the other tiers.
Yeah, the other 3 are Bahrain, if I'm not mistaken. So they're Bahrain, and this will be something different. Valk into turn 1, not close enough, as Titan makes his way past Invade into turn 1. Blue Goggy pitting again, interesting. Going for fastest lap maybe.
With Titan and Invade, by the way. 2 fierce competitors.
Titan going a bit wide, can Invade get back at him? They're on the same tyre, same age of tyre as well. Can Invade make a move here? Oh, he dives it down the inside, and that is
nice little
he's gonna
dummy.
make it work. Nice, well done.
How about the British driver getting in front, but Titan the American trying to go back at it.
Oh,
Titan diving it. Late lunge. and maybe making this work. He's going to squeeze Invade onto the curb, but they all remain good right there. Give us a good camera angle, damn it. Invade having the inside line for the next corner. It's still wheel-to-wheel between these two.
Oh my god.
Oh, almost contact. I think there was a bit of touching, but Titan back ahead. We're about to start the final lap, though, and Minako's leading on track, but he's not going to win the race based on when the penalties get applied.
I definitely think Minako's been the quickest driver throughout this weekend. Other than qualifying, he had a stinker. But yeah, he's just going to let himself down with that speeding penalty, it seems.
Valkyrie adds her name to the list of other drivers to pick up multiple track limit penalties, but can Titan on this final lap, on track and on penalties, keep RSF1 Invade at bay? We'll find out as we got DRS down the main straight, a different DRS type of straight because you got the start-finish line that is earlier. And I don't know if it's just me, but it definitely feels like the straight is less longer than last game.
Yeah.
A much reprofiled, re-updated track. And with that being said, RSF1 Invade takes advantage of that.
Invade making his way up to P8. Have they got the same amount of penalties? No, so it doesn't really matter anyway. But Jordan's AI is going to get a point here because Goggy's rubbish.
Yeah.
And it looks like
best day.
sort of it's all set in stone at least for the top positions. I think George is going to beat Valkyrie with the penalty.
Mythic might.
Yeah.
Mythic should. Invade question mark right there still. Lot to happen. But yeah, this has been quite the feature race, folks. Remember, if you want to tune in later, we got Tier 1 at 8 p.m. UK time in just about 2 hours' time, which Miniko will be looking forward to probably being the guy to beat so far in F2. Can that translate to F1? Miniko has been on the pace besides qualifying, and he'll come across the line to claim first on track, but Tadpole has not seen the tops of the podium in F2 since July-August area of last year, and it's going to be the top step again for the Virtuosi driver. Tadpole starting off F124 with F2, very strong indeed. We got a race to the line. It's going to be SLR Metal with a drag race on Jack Miles. Does the DRS pay off? It does not. Jack Miles hangs on by 79 milliseconds, while Groggers did get Valkyrie in the end. Mythic did too, but does Invade. No.
Invade can't. And that is your top 10 when Jordan's AI lumbers his way through the final sector.
Just want to say,
but that,
Mythic barely got Valk. Look at that. And that is it.
Are we doing
that is it from RF2 Grid.
Driver of the day or driver of the weekend? Or is that we can indulge?
Miniko is one to put up there.
Yeah, I'd say
didn't
Titan.
have the best of races, but he had a
in terms
I
of
think
expectation.
Yeah, he exceeded expectations. I'd put him in the third place probably, just because of exceeding expectations, not on the penalties. But Miniko Tadpole, easily 2 for me.
Yeah,
Jack Miles.
Jack,
maybe.
a strong weekend. Georgia, a strong weekend. Medal got all his points in the feature race, strong feature, but couldn't do anything in the sprint. I think Titan. I mean, P4 in the sprint is nowhere near as valuable as P4 in the feature, but I'm impressed by Titan. Good sprint race. Couldn't make anything happen in the feature, but no, he's had a decent weekend as well.
I am too, because I think he's fixed a lot of the inconsistency issues, and with a lot of the factors going right, I really think this guy can win his first RPL F2 race on this game cycle. We got quite a bit to come up here in RPL F2. I don't have final results on my screen. You might, if you can, go over them.
We have Tadpole in P1, Miniko P2, Jack 3rd, then we have Medal in 4th, and George 5th after penalties. Mythic, Valk, Invade, and then Titan, and then Jordan's AI deciding I'm going to get a point, which was Jordan's only point of the weekend.
And we lost 2, I think, there in the feature. I think it's going to be interesting to see, Egg, with the F2 tier, which driver will become our 75th different winner of the tier. We have 74 right now on the all-time winner list, but will anything change come the season?
Who's a candidate for that? Who is not one that could win?
Okay, so we have a list of people here that are full-time that could get their first win. We got Miniko. Miniko is not one in F2. let alone at all in RPL. Metal, FBL, Josh, the newcomer, not Josh H, Josh, just regular Josh. Optical, we've got Goggy and Titan. We've
I'd
got
say
JNT and JTK. We still got more. We got 7.7s in VAR, and we got Vapor.js. We got a lot of drivers who could.
I'm interested to see. I don't know if he's done F2 before, but I'm interested to see what J&T can do and JTK. I'm interested to see what those two can do. But I've got to say, I imagine Minico probably could pick up a win. Whether or not that'll be the 75th winner, but I definitely think he could pick up at least one win throughout the season. So
We've had 3 different champions last 3 seasons. Who do you think becomes the championship favorite with that being said?
well, I think Minico's a shout. From what I've seen today, I don't know everyone's pace because I don't know who hasn't raced today. From what I've seen today, it's got to be Tadpole and Minico. They both look strong in different aspects of the weekend. Tadpole certainly looked very good in qualifying. Jordan, a very disappointing weekend, but he did look like he had some pace. He just needs to sort out the track limits issues, and then he could be out there as well.
RPL Jordan did impress me yesterday in Tier 2, not with the track limits, but with the pace. And today was one. Although he didn't show us a lot, he did show us more than I anticipated. He showed why that he could be a contender, maybe a pretender, like he was in the one season he fought for a championship for the first few races. Yeah, I mean, the guys who sparked my eye, besides Minico, and based on, this grid as a whole besides today, Minico is one of them, Griffiths is another. I think Tadpole is really strong. I'm actually surprised about that. I think based on the races we've seen, he could definitely be a big surprise. And obviously you have to go with drivers like Skither up there. He's got a lot of pace. Griffiths, I already said. And someone else who did not race today but has put a lot of practice into his return. Maybe a little bias from me. But Polo God, he's put a lot of practice into this return, and he's a vice champion of F2 in 2 prior seasons. Could this season be the season that he ends up changing it? If Skither and Griffiths have their attendance issues which they've had in the past, it could potentially be a Polo God versus Minico fight if the cards are played right.
Yeah, I do fancy it depends how many races Skits does, but he is obviously very quick. He won't practice for him because he doesn't care that much, but he is just naturally a very, very, very quick driver. So we'll see what he can do in the races he actually does turn up for.
Yeah, hopefully they just turn up to all of them, so maybe we could see a Skither and Griffiths championship battle put out quite fairly for Season 19. We're probably going to have, I think, if I'm correct, maybe it's either this season or the start of next season, we'll have RPL F2's 400th race at some point. We'll watch out what happens during the season. We've got more social races, preseason events to come, whether it's F2 or other tiers. But for other tiers, make sure you tune in for F1 later today at Britain with their preseason event, and Tier 3 in Spain tomorrow. I'll be driving in that, so we'll have some different commentators on board compared to usual. With that being said, friend Searles, Eggles07, both signing off, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
In a bit.